Hi, thank you for watching. Welcome back to the channel. Andy Simmons here. And today I have a very special guest, my partner, Natalie Bailey. And we're going to talk a little bit about her experience in real estate. And so you're in for a treat. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Natalie. We've been working together for 3 or 4 years now. And she's amazing. She comes from the service industry. She was a very successful event planner, and she was in the bartending. So she's used to loving people and entertainment and all of that. But her strong suit is definitely giving good service to people, and I love that about her. And she has a very lively spirit. So let's hear a little bit about you. So tell us about you.
I'm originally from Michigan, born and raised in Michigan, came down to Florida for a basketball scholarship and just fell in love with Florida. Came down, started serving in between my basketball, and I just fell in love with the weather, so I didn't want to go back, and kind of just continued here, got a job here, met my husband. We have 3 children.
3 boys, active boys. Yeah. That's awesome. So Natalie has been in the real estate industry for 4 years. 4 years now. Yes. And how has it been?
Oh my goodness.
What's your experience been like?
So when I first started real estate, I didn't want to start real estate at all because I loved, as she said, I loved my job as event coordinator. I just kind of sat around events and ate cake and conducted weddings, and it was like my dream job. But my husband was in real estate, and he was telling me, like, you really need to get into real estate. And we kind of pondered the idea back and forth, and I don't like change, but he loves change. And he was like, it'd be a good challenge for you. And I was telling him, like, oh, I don't really think so. But we're a very competitive couple, so all he had to say was, this would be really good for you, you're really good at it, and I would probably sell more houses than you. So when he had this competitive side, I was like, oh, it's on. So I ended up joining this craziness, and I ended up really interested in it, and I started it. And I'll tell you though, my first 2 years was like such a doozy. So it was so much at once because there's so much learning and so different than I've ever done before. And you just take this world and you have to make it become yours. And I thought, like, oh, well, I'll become a realtor because I'll make my own schedule. I'll work, I'm not going to work weekends. I'm not going to work night times. I'm just going to work, 3 days a week because buyers are going to flock to me and sellers are going to flock to me. So this will be easy. Boy, were we wrong. That's a small platform of what we do. But so my first 2 years, I kind of had it as like I was a magnet of bad luck. I think I said that too, like weekly. And I just had my first buyer, first of all, I finally got someone to trust me. You learn all your platforms, you learn what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to be successful, and then I finally got that first buyer, and I was just super, super excited. And I was like, yeah, get in my car, let's go. Like, where do you want to go? Let's go to West Chapel, let's go to Tarpon Springs, let's go to wherever you want to go. And we ended up finding her dream home, and I was just so nervous. I think it took me 3 hours to write that contract. And this was a little bit different time 4 years ago where buyers had a little more control. And I sat there and I wrote this contract, reading everything, making sure, cross-referencing it with all the papers I had, with making sure my broker, I was doing everything correctly. And we ended up getting the deal. We were so excited. And then we ended up getting through escrow, getting through the inspection, which I even so was terrified because we wanted repairs done. At that time, buyers could request repairs, and I was terrified we're going to lose the deal because they want to get repairs done. Ended up seller and buyer, we negotiated and we were good. And then we went through the appraisal. The appraisal was a little off, but again, was able to negotiate buyer and seller, meeting in the middle. It worked out just fine. And about 2 days before closing, my first sale, I get this phone call while I'm on vacation. And she says, my company is downsizing and we're not going to be working in Tampa anymore. We all are getting relocated. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, this is not happening. So
Did you cry?
I think I
Almost.
I think I had a panic attack. I think I took some blood pressure medicine. And and so I had to go through the whole scenarios of you're going to lose your escrow. This is what's going to happen. And the seller's already packed up and moved out. Like, we literally were closing in 2 days. And the buyer was like, I will give she was very kind about. She's like, I'm going to forfeit my escrow. I'm not even going to try to fight it. And that was my first deal. And I was just like, bring me back to weddings. Like, this is, bring me back to serving. Like, this is not happening to me. This is, I'm just a magnet of bad luck. And, but you go through these crazy highs and lows. It's like a mountain we climb every day. I've had some very lows. I mean, people that we get to the closing table and they would decide to purchase a vacation on their credit card, so their debt to income is way off and we can't close them. I have searched and searched for houses. I must have shown my other buyer like 36 homes, and I remember vividly. We finally found, because again, I was so excited. I had a buyer. We would go all over the place. Finally found the dream home, and then by the contract signing, it was a new build. The representative that was working in the new build said, hey, we have an issue. They're signing the contract today. And I was like, okay, great. What's the issue? She's like, they flew in their cousin from Miami to write the deal. And this was the standards. Whoever was there at contracting signing got the deal. So I got my car and I drove up there, but I was too late. And, you know, you experience very crazy.
Heartbreaking stuff.
And you're just emotional for the buyers, for everything that, you know, their dream homes, and sometimes you just feel like you're between a rock and a hard place.
So fast forwarding to now versus then, you definitely have grown. I've seen you grown.
Yes.
4 years later, you are no longer that emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
Because you've learned from those experiences,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
say. Well, I want to first thank Derek, her husband. Give him some credit for pushing her into this, because she's really good now. And even though it took, you know, several years, big learning curve,
Yes.
big learning curve.
Big.
You have been very successful in the past, let's say, 2 years, even at the beginning, compared to where you were at.
I just like kind of hit the ground. Like I was like, you know, I didn't try to reinvent the wheel. You listen to, you know, Andy, you listen to everyone in Century 21, you listen to their stories, and it's like, I did the door knocking. I would door knock in the middle of a storm. I would door knock in the heat of the summer. I would host all my open houses. I would tell, you know, they tell you all the time, let everybody know you're a realtor. So that's what I did. I was like, I'm a realtor. Like, let me buy and sell it, you know, let me help you out. I thought it was the most ridiculous thing that I had to get out of my comfort zone of wearing my name tag to the grocery store. Like, why? No one's going to talk to me. But it was like, it like dumbfounded me. Like, some guy was like, oh yeah, my mom's trying to move down here from Maine. And I was like, I'm a realtor.
Right? And you never know where
Yes.
your next buyer and your next seller come from. So the bottom line is that you have to let people know this is what you do. So when they need you, they use you. Because ultimately, as realtors, we're not going out there, you know, trying to sell everybody a house.
Right.
No, that's not how it works. We make relationships, and then people, when they need you, they come to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And
it's not forceful.
You bond with these buyers. Like, you know, I thought coming into real estate, like, oh, I'm going to open a door and I'm going to tell them, like, oh, you can, you know, paint this wall purple and look at where your kids could go. That's like a small platform of what you have to do, but you have to experience it, because, I mean, the first mistake I ever made, and I'm just terrified of it, so I will never make this mistake, is I got the buyer. We got them to the closing table, they moved in, and she's like, Natalie, I never set my utilities up. And I was like, oh my gosh. Not really 100% my responsibility, but it sets you that next level up if you remember and you can guide them 100%. So she ultimately had to go 3 days in a hotel because it was the middle of July, and Tika was extremely busy. They couldn't get them on their books. So she was like, no one was mad at me. I wasn't mad. I was mad more at myself because, man, if I would have. So lesson learned.
But you didn't know back then. And that, I feel like every realtor, because you can't learn through somebody. And I know you and I shadow, for several months, and you went with me. But you can't learn everything in a short period of time. It takes you doing it to have your own experience and your own, click, that process. Oh, my goodness, now from this point forward,
I have a whole spreadsheet, and the utility companies are definitely my number one. So.
Right. I mean, I've been doing this 16 years, and I feel like I'm still learning, and you never know it all. You're always constantly growing, and you should be, because the market change, life change, people change. And you cannot treat real estate or anything just like this is the way it is. This is the way it is. No, it's always evolving. Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that story. Okay, let's talk about this market right now. It is a bit of a crazy market. Now we're in a seller's market. I feel like there is 20 to 30 buyers per house now. An insane amount of people moving from up north, from out west, from the middle of international, you name it. There are insane amount of inflows into real estate when in Florida. And I believe it's like that the rest of the market. Or nationwide. But Florida, I can only speak for Florida because that's where we are. Even though there are some stuff going in the world today, which is deeply saddened that we could be in the verge of a war, we cannot not acknowledge that. A lot of people suffering, a lot of people going through very hard times. Bringing it back to our world and our market, we're still experiencing, insane amount of bidding wars. And I had a listing go live on Tuesday. It is Thursday today, March the 10th, and I had 12 offers as of 6 a.m. I haven't checked my email since or 7 a.m. because been busy with work, right? But 12 offers, 20 showings today, and cutoff is tomorrow. And this is a $300,000 home. So I feel horrible for the first-time buyers, the people that are VA, FHA, that are trying to buy their first home because honestly, 4% interest rates, even though they have been going up, they're still low record, historically lows. I mean, when I started in real estate, they were in the 6.5 to 7%. And, if you go back even further, they have been, in the teens. And, historically, real estate has always been a good investment, a good hedge against, inflation, a good, long term. When you think long term, even though the market goes up and down, it ultimately goes up more than it goes down. Kind of like, the stock market. If you stay there long enough, you're going to be fine. But let's bring it back to what's happening in today's market. How are you dealing with bidding wars and buyers and sellers?
Well, you feel so bad, like you said, with all the buyers, because, you have a buyer that's ready to go. Whatever happens, their situation, they need to move, and they just can't. I had a buyer that we went to St. Pete, oh my goodness, and we must have just put in so many offers. It was almost every day. It was like, did you see this house? Let's go, let's go, let's go. And we actually just put in probably about 10 offers a week on homes, and good, strong offers. We can write strong contracts and strong offers, and we were doing escalation clause. We had X amount of dollars way above the appraisal price. We were even going to go over the appraisal price. We were waiving contingencies. We were waiving anything. We were flexible on close dates, and we were still, you just feel so defeated for them because they think that this is a good offer, and my buyers would always say, like, what did we do wrong? Nothing. It's just the beast of the nature right now, and you just have to do backups. You just have to keep on it. We weren't even looking at the homes at some point. We just saw they hit the market, and we were just putting in very, very aggressive offers, and we just have to kind of educate them and let them know that this is how it is. We just have to keep trying at it, keep climbing this mountain, because one day it's going to happen. I even experienced such when the pandemic hit, people that were under new construction contracts, I think that was so new to all of us. We just didn't know. And we could say the pandemic, but we didn't have a pure definition, because when you're emotionally invested in not having your house, or you were supposed to move in May and now they're telling you July, August, now they're telling you December, January, February, I can easily just say, oh, it's the pandemic. Oh, we don't have labor. But you have to listen to them, because they're living the nightmare of, I'm supposed to be in my house. I'm supposed to, not be in this hotel room for 3 or 4 or 5 months. You just have to empathize with them and just hear them out and feel their pain and suffering, because you're emotionally invested with them. And
100%. Do you feel like you're a therapist some days?
I feel like I'm a therapist, and I just feel so sad for them. But I know you just have to remind them that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what I would tell my buyers all the time. Is they would say, I want to cancel my contract. We can, but the builder would probably be happy to cancel, because they know that the equity of it from when you went under contract, you're going to get way more. But you're going to start from ground zero. And we already sold your house. And we sold your house a year ago. And I know this is heart-wrenching. And you just have to let them know that there is light it's far, but and I feel now we're kind of getting a little bit more control, but it's still, I have sellers all the time that will call me and say, I want to list my house. And when I prepare a CMA for them, because that's part of what the services we offer is a CMA and a SPA, a comparative market analysis, I feel like sometimes I just have to throw it out the door. Hey, this is what the market is saying. It's saying with all your upgrades, with your lot, with your house size, everything that an appraiser would look at, we should list around 700. Well, I want to list at 9. You know what? I've seen crazier things. Let's just try it. We'll try it. We have to go over all the scenarios of what could happen of listing so high. I try to give a time limit to say, let's try it. If not, we'll do a price reduction. But this market is just, it's a seller's market right now, and those buyers are coming left and right. And you just kind of educate them of what would happen if we list so high. What kind of appraisal issues are we going to get? What are we looking for? As a listing agent, everyone says, oh, it must be so easy to list your house. Well, yes and no. Now I'm going to be dealing with 27 to 30
Correct.
showings. You're going to be inconvenienced for a long period of time versus, hey, this hour someone wants to come. Oh, this hour someone wants to come. Now it's like basically your entire weekend you need to come up with an idea to get out of the house because it's going to be mayhem. And then as agents, we're dealing with tons and tons of contracts. We have to stay organized with it with our spreadsheets because we
communicate way more.
Yep. And I not only do I have agents calling me, asking me now as another service, lenders are calling to let me know that, hey, we're really qualified, like this is a good buyer. So I have to talk to every single one of those. I have to spreadsheet and make sure that, because it's a 12-page contract, that every single line item is negotiable. So we need to go through line item to make sure the net value for the seller is really
It's the best.
Yeah, you can put in there, $200,000 over the asking price. Well, what does that really mean if
Right.
we have an appraisal issue? And we have to go over several. I've heard people say they've had 36 to 40 offers per house, which I'm sure you've experienced.
You brought so many good points. And right now, I feel like our job is harder.
Yes.
It's harder because even though people think it's easier, we're making money, easier. No, well, first of all, this is our lifeline.
Yeah.
And to go back a couple of points, we are the glue that holds
Yep.
everything together. I feel like that's why people come to us, because we can give them that positivity of that light at the end of the tunnel,
Yeah.
that explanation that it's gonna be okay, that explanation of hold on tight because I seen this and this and
Yeah.
this, and we have more experience than they do.
Yep.
And when they are a nerve wreck and they are emotionally so
Emotional.
invested, you are the sound that would just calm them down and say, hey,
It's hard.
we can deal with these problems, and we are problem solvers at
Yep.
the end of the day. But to go back to the point of, we work harder, because I feel like I'm doing 3 or 4 or 5 times the amount of work with buyers and with sellers.
Yep.
People don't understand how much it takes to deal with 20 more people.
Yep.
And 20 more contracts, and like you said, staying organized, making sure that we get the best possible deal, not just on price, because it's not always about
Nope.
price. It's about who has the most cash to pay
Yep.
the difference on appraisal, because homes are not appraising these days. There are all kinds of appraisal issues, and who is going to be having issues with inspection requests, if it's an
Yep.
FHA or VA, or if it's a cash when they're looking to close, or if they're picking title, or there's so many things, right,
A
that we
lot
have to deal
more
with.
questions, like what if I list high? How long until I get into a new house? When can I get into a new house? What will the buyers still pay for my closing costs? Can I get an
Right.
inspection report? I mean, there's a lot more questions that are being asked by the sellers, because I don't think they really understand. They look at Zillow and they look at their neighbors. Oh, my neighbor's home sold for X amount of dollars. Well, they're also 700 square feet larger than yours. That's not a reasonable comp. But
Right.
they see the numbers, and they see these very high numbers, and they think, oh, well, my house is worth it.
But then the question about for sellers, which I find hard right now, is where would you go?
Exactly. Yep.
Where would you go? You have to have that backup
Yep.
plan, because we can sell your house quickly.
Yep.
On the most amount of money right now, no problem.
Yep.
We can navigate through all of that.
Yep.
But where would you go? So you have to have that backup plan, because you have to be prepared. If somebody's overpaying for your house,
Yep, you're
in
gonna
your mind,
overpay.
you're going to go
Yep,
over.
exactly. And
That's
you have to know that. And
You have to explain
you
that
have
to
to
them.
understand that and accept that,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Okay, so I know we don't have a crystal ball and we can forecast the future, but where did you see this market going?
Oh, dear.
From what you're seeing now and everything that you've experienced.
Off the record.
Off the record.
I see. I do feel that eventually it's got to slow. Like, I feel the interest rates are creeping, but they're still very low. But I feel that people right now are kind of at a standstill. A prime example, like me, when I sold my neighbor's home, I was like, we're putting our house on the market, let's go. But where? So I feel like we have to have some kind of a switch around soon, but I don't think it's going to be in our near future. I think this is here. Florida's amazing. I think people still want to move here. We just need more inventory. And you see that, though. You see builders are building. I feel like the builders have gotten a little bit more of a grasp of this crazy concept, and I feel like we have the labor, we have the material now, we have the land, but we are running out of land in this Apollo Beach River, Tampa area.
So sure, which is the last end of Hillsborough County to be developed.
Yeah.
So, they are building as fast as they can with,
What they
delays
can,
with what they can because
yeah.
there are still shortage, supply chain issues. So there have been delays. I see apartment complex going up left and right.
Me too.
So the amount of people moving to the state is incredible.
Still high.
I see this market, still staying, on the high, for a while. And again, we don't know what's going to happen with the world. There are other issues that are, going to affect our real estate market potentially.
Yes.
If, the interest rates go up, a lot. But I don't see the interest rates going up too much because then that could cause a recession. That could cause an economic slowdown. The growth is very important for our country. And, when you see housing, which it hasn't been affected, but when you see housing slow down, that slows everything else down.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this has been very awesome and productive conversation. Is there anything else that you want to add that we didn't touch on?
No.
So best of luck out there. How do we contact you for people that want to get a hold of you?
Oh, yes.
How do they reach you?
My direct cell, area code 863-698-5427.
And where else can they find you? Are you on Facebook?
Facebook, on my Century 21 website. But my cell, texting or leaving a message, calling. I try all the time to answer. So if I don't answer right away,
we are one of those realtors that do answer their phone.
Yep, we will answer or call back. So
awesome.
Leave a message.
Thank you again for watching. Best of luck out there, and you know how to reach us. Have a great day, everybody.